You may be seated. Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, the Honorable Desmond McKenzie, Minister of Local Government and Community Development and Member of Parliament for Kingston Western, His Worship the Mayor, Senator Councillor Delroy Williams, Mayor of Kingston, councillors, caretakers and other political representatives representing the divisions in Kingston Western, Pastor Shamar Miller, pastor of the New Birth Apostolic Ministries, Mr. Linville Freeman, chairman of the NHT Board of Directors, other members of the NHT Board, directors Nesta Claire Hunter, Director O'Neill Grant, and Director Dorian Dixon, the NHT's Managing Director, Mr. Martin Miller, other members of the NHT's management team and NHT staff here with us today, our project stakeholders, M&M Jamaica Limited, Managing Director, Mr. Don Mullings, and Rural Water Supply Limited, NHT business stakeholders or partner mortgage institutions, utility providers, and other agencies and departments of government, members of the media, other distinguished guests, everyone, a pleasant morning to you all. A pleasant, you know I like when you respond. A pleasant morning to you all. Good morning and welcome to the future home of Royal Estate. And welcome, of course, to this, our groundbreaking ceremony to mark the start of construction for this development. My name is Dwayne Burbick and I will be your Master of Ceremonies for this morning. And I couldn't help but notice that there was a buzz of excitement in the air as we gathered here today for this significant milestone in this community's journey. This occasion, it represents the culmination of dedication, collaboration, and a shared vision for the future of this community. So today, as we break ground, we're not just breaking ground for the soil beneath us, but we're breaking ground as well on the promise of a vibrant, inclusive, and sustainable community. And Royal Estate is not merely just a plan for a set of buildings. It really speaks to the testament of the NHT's commitment to fostering a sense of belonging by creating homes that represent the dreams and aspirations of those who will inhabit them. And in that spirit, let me now invite Pastor Shamar Miller, pastor of the New Birth Apostolic Ministries, to the lectern to lead us in a moment of prayer and invocation.
Good morning, everyone. Let me invite you to please stand. Let us pray. The steadfast hope of the Lord never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. They are new every morning. Great is thy faithfulness. Omnipotent God, omniscient God, we thank you for this day. This is the day that you have made, God. Here we are rejoicing and being glad in it. And so, God, we consecrate this spot of ground in the name of Jesus. And we decree and we declare in the name of Jesus that it will be successful. It will be a home, Lord God, for those who are genuinely in need. And we pray, God, in the name of Jesus, that the peace that passeth all understanding will be here for us. And so, God, we leave everything directly in your care. Take full control of today's ceremony as we give you thanks in Jesus' mighty name. Amen.
Thank you very much, Pastor Miller. So today's groundbreaking ceremony marks the commencement of what one can describe as a transformational journey, one that extends well beyond this particular construction site that we're on. And that's so because housing is not just about constructing buildings. Housing, it breathes new life into our communities. It creates employment opportunities, but it also is a vehicle for community renewal and for social cohesion. And we at the NHT, we know this because for the past 47 years, we have traveled Jamaica and seeing this rebirth take place with each development and with each community that we visit. So to tell us a little bit more about the NHT's mission, let's now welcome Mr. Linville Freeman, Chairman of the NHT's Board of Directors. And at this time, he will bring a welcome and also make a few remarks. Please make him welcome.
Thank you very much, Mr. Master of Ceremonies, Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, Honorable Desmond McKenzie, Minister of Local Government and Community Development, and Member of Parliament for Western Kingston. And I dare say, Minister McKenzie, I should call you my church brother as well, right? His Worship the Mayor, Councillor, Senator and Councillor Delroy Williams, Mayor of Kingston, other political representatives, other state officials, NHT board members, and I see at least 3 board members there, along with our managing director. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. As the minister said, this is a day that the Lord has made, and we rejoice in it. So I say good morning, not out of mere formality, but just to say in everything we give thanks. Last week, at this point in time, we were rained out. Today, the sun is shining. And if you were to follow Bob Marley, he says the sun is shining and the weather is sweet. Put on your dancing feet and etc. So it feels good to be here this morning, experiencing this warm sunshine, a wonderful representation of our resilience, as well as the dawning of boundless opportunities that today signifies. And so, in my own words and my own mantra, in everything we give thanks. It is indeed a pleasure to welcome you to this groundbreaking ceremony for the Royal Estate, the soon-to-be place of choice to live, work, and do business for another group of well-deserving Jamaicans. And of course, this development will encompass multi-use units, including commercial and residential. Groundbreakings are important because we tend to celebrate the finished product. However, I'm sure we can all appreciate the value, significance, and importance of a solid start. Those within the housing industry will tell you that regardless of the grandeur of a structure, its most important feature is its foundation. It determines how well the building will endure the test of time. This space is an excellent foundation upon which to break ground and to build this new community. Beyond the ceremonies, tilling the soil, today's ceremony allows us to have an even greater appreciation of the depth of steadfast vision and the level of work that will be expected to transform a space such as this into a sustainable, function, safe, and thriving community. And I see the contractor here sitting, and I know that at the end of the day, based on what we expect, we will get delivered. Housing plays a critical role in supporting the foundation of our nation's development. Housing means the opportunity to build generational wealth and to enjoy peace of mind. And if I should also say, it also provides the environment to study and to play and to develop healthy minds. Its comfort, a legacy, employment, and an overall happier and healthy population with a phenomenal multiplier effect on our economy. At NHT, we are uniquely positioned to understand this. We travel the length and breadth of Jamaica, doing projects like these that impact the quality of life for many proud NHT homeowners. We do this in an environment where NHT's interest rates remain low. In fact, just for information, most of our contributors get an interest rate of 0%. We do this in an environment where we make financing accessible. Our programs we make innovative and inclusive, and the quality of our development exceptional, and the price affordable. Let me also add that at the NHT, we are not just investing in facilitating our contributors' access to financing. We also consider programs that support the NHT's thrust of fostering great community living. Initiative like our community renewal program, under which this falls, Royal Estate Fall, is being built all over the country. And this will allow us to support community rebirth and empower citizens through a series of programs, as well as the construction of communities. Over the next several months, the NHT will be developing 144 high-quality housing units right here. Our buzzwords are, according to what the Prime Minister, I think he laid the foundation the last time he spoke at one of our events, develop them quickly, according to our Prime Minister. Development will be outfitted with green spaces and recreational areas to make life more comfortable and enjoyable for our contributors and their families. These housing units will add over 1,300 solutions slated for completion over the next few years as part of our housing delivery program for Kingston and St. Andrew. It is important to note the true impact of this development and developments like this, and that these developments cannot solely be measured in the housing units it generates. It also provides next much needed employment in the area and facilitate important infrastructural improvement. The business of construction within our nation capital, Kingston, and by extension St. Andrew, is truly a delicate balance of creativity, innovation, and functionality, while also ensuring we meet the needs of affordability levels of our diverse contributor base. The high commercial and residential density means that there are far more factors to consider, particularly the impact of the environment. It therefore requires a deliberate approach to where and how we build, and to ensure we meet the standards of safety, modern and functional, and most importantly, sustainable community. To the future residents of Royal Estate, we look forward to welcoming and partnering with you for the next phase of your lives. Finally, as we look out on this land before us, it represents more than just a space where we will build homes, but rather a place to build opportunities that will positively shape our nation's future. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for attending in the first place, and I'm hoping that you will enjoy the rest of today's proceedings. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Mr. Freeman. There we go. And indeed, it is difficult to measure the impact of this development on the community. And one way we can measure it is, of course, through the economic impact. Another way we can measure it is through the amount of concrete that we will pour here, right, Mr. Moore? But another way that we can measure it is, of course, through the stories of individuals and families who will find a sense of belonging, a sense of opportunity, and a feeling of community here. And representing those voices, those families, and those stories this morning is a Member of Parliament for Kingston Western, So at this time, let's please make welcome to the lectern the Honorable Desmond Mackenzie, who will bring his remarks at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Masters of Ceremony. Most Honorable Prime Minister, His Worship the Mayor, councillors and other political representatives who are present, Chairman and the Managing Director and the other support team of a National Housing Trust. Ladies and gentlemen, and the constituents of West Kingston, let me first of all extend my personal welcome to you and to say, so far, Prime Minister, the team from the NHT has been working with us to make this a reality. Ladies and gentlemen, we are gathered here after 50 years when the first houses were built in Tivoli Gardens. This plot of land that we are presently on was where the spur line train used to drive up and empty its cargo. Behind us is the old Public Works Department. It was the workshop and it was the headquarters of the operation of PWD, which is now the National Works Agency. To my right was a small community playing field, which took in a part of a vast acre, 27 acres, known as Bakawal. And in this community, more than 10,000 persons reside in Bakawal without any facility. 2 standpipes and 1 communal bathroom and toilet. And the bathroom still stands now at Ebenezer. Old cars, cardboards, and whatever people could find was the source of shelter. And Mr. Seaga, his first commitment to the people of West Kingston in 1962, that he would rid the community of Bakawal and build decent and proper homes for the people of West Kingston. He said that he's not only building houses to take the man out of the slum, but most importantly is to take the slum out of the man. And Tivoli Gardens was constructed over a period this transformed the community from the largest squatting community in the Caribbean into a model community. And the name Tivoli was not really new, because the Queen's Theatre on Spanish Town Road was known as Tivoli. But the original name of Tivoli is an Italian city in Italy, which is a beautiful location. And that was what Mr. Seaga was depicting. We became the envy of many communities across the country. Across there was the first maternity center to be built anywhere in Jamaica, the Kiwanis Maternity Center. Mr. Seaga believed that building a community, you should start from birth into schools. And he sometimes would say, you have the maternity center here. So when you have the baby reaches age, they go on to Charles Chinloy Basic School. The Denham Town Primary School was built to facilitate the changes. And the Tivoli Gardens Comprehensive High School was built to take the education a step further. And he would fondly say at times, and the next thing, we build the largest community center in the country, Tivoli Gardens, which we would convert at times as a chapel. And he would say, from birth to education to funeral, and Maypen Cemetery, which is just across the road, occupies the space. This is a dream that we all welcome Prime Minister. It has been many years in coming, and today we relish the thought that finally, after many years, not by this administration, and I want to be a little political because the funds were provided to build the housing community from 2007. So it is not this administration of Prime Minister Andrew Holness is the one that stepped in and have rescued the people of Rasta City who has been living in a deplorable condition for many years. And the community is grateful. We have been meeting with the NHT Prime Minister. And everybody who lives there understand that there is no free house to be given over there. We have started the process of persons who are not NHT contributors. They have now started to get themselves regularized so that they can benefit from this golden opportunity. I could go on and speak for hours on the concept of Tivoli Gardens and give many reasons why as a community we are proud. Many families were born, raised, they have children. Generation of people have lived over what was an office complex, but was converted into housing solution by the Most Honorable Edward Seaga. I am honored this morning as the Member of Parliament. It started when I was mayor, and I am honored this morning that as the Member of Parliament, I can stand up and speak boldly on behalf of the people of Royal Estates, Tivoli Gardens, that they will not and will never disappoint the government about the investment that you have made in their future. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister Mackenzie, for those remarks that were wide, included lessons in geography, lessons in history, lessons in sociology that no doubt has created in the minds of those who were acutely listening a better understanding of the impact of this development that we're breaking ground for today on this community. Thank you again very much. And speaking of the community, it is our pleasure to welcome at this time one of Jamaica's most prolific cultural ensembles. If you know anything about culture, if you know anything about dance, then you would know that the Tivoli Gardens Dance Troupe is one of the preeminent community dance groups in Jamaica, and they have a particular title. They have won the most gold medals in the annual Jamaica Dance Festival than any other dance group. And they are so good at what they do that they are able to put on their own recital on an annual basis. So it is our privilege this morning to get a taste of the Tivoli Dance Troupe. Please make them welcome. You know, the word I could think of when I saw that performance was infectious. Chairman started tapping his feet. Mr. Mackenzie, I was a little worried for them when I saw the high kicks. But we got through it. And there was a little toddler who, she couldn't stay in her seat no more. She came out and she was having her own dance number around there. But such was the performance. As I said, the word I could think of was infectious. Ladies and gentlemen, another round of applause for the Tivoli Dance Troupe. Now, I've lost count of how many times I've had the privilege of introducing our next speaker since about September alone. We've been to Trelawney, we went to Westmoreland twice, we were in Clarendon recently, and here we are again. And that's a good thing, given his new charge to the NHT to build more house quickly. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to welcome at this time Prime Minister and Portfolio Minister with responsibility for the NHT, the Most Honorable Andrew Holness.
Now, I know you'll get this joke. Thank you, Trevor Berbick. Dwayne. I'm sure you get that all the time. Are you related, by the way? You don't look like a boxer, so you're not related. Thank you, Mr. Master of Ceremony, for your usual masterful handling of these ceremonies. Ceremonies are important to mark milestones. They are important to bring people together around important events. So ceremonies aren't just meaningless gatherings. They are very important psychologically to bring people, particularly those who will benefit from, those who have struggled for, and those who are observers, to bring them together in one space to, one, celebrate, two, celebrate. One is to say, I'm very happy about this, and the other is to reflect on it, think on it, of what it means. And the other is to give thanks. And we're going to do all of these things today in this ceremony. Ceremonies usually have protocols, otherwise they are just gatherings. So this is more than a gathering, it is a ceremony, so allow me to stand on protocols established, except to acknowledge our Minister of Local Government and Member of Parliament for the constituency of Western Kingston, the Honorable Desmond Mackenzie, and His Worship, the Mayor, Senator, Councillor Delroy Williams, Mayor and Chairman of the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation, the Chairman of the NHT Board, Mr. Linval Freeman, Mr. Martin Miller, the Managing Director of the NHT, and the executive team, that wonderful team of the NHT, our executive heads of agencies who are here, and of course, the contractors who will build this wonderful facility, and members of the media, members of the security team that are here, and you, the beneficiaries who are here as well, and all distinguished ladies and gentlemen present. Good morning. Today marks a special moment in our collective journey towards progress and community development as we gather for the groundbreaking ceremony of the Royal Estate Housing Development in Tivoli Gardens. The development is a testimony to your government's unwavering commitment to building not just houses, but communities under the banner of the NHT's Community Renewal Program. The Royal Estate will have 144 housing units, which will include 130 duplexes and 14 mixed-use units. I gather that provisions are being made in the mixed-use units for some commercial enterprises. This is a new feature of the NHT development, but it is in consideration of the needs of the people. So I commend this new feature of the housing developments. Not that I'm recommending it for all, but where it is necessary. The NHT is in the business of building houses, not shops. There will be 32 studio units, 38 one-bedroom units, 60 two-bedroom units, and 14 mixed-use units. This development represents hope and opportunity and embodies the ideals of the Community Renewal Program, an initiative deeply rooted in the tenets of Vision 2030, and it is an outgrowth of the NHT's inner city housing project. The development is estimated at approximately 2.8 billion Jamaican dollars and will be constructed on approximately 8.3 acres of land in the community. Since its inception, the NHT has contributed over 10,000 housing solutions in Kingston and St. Andrew through the joint venture interim finance project, through the inner city housing project, and the NHT scheme programs. Further, it should be noted that the NHT's current housing plan for Kingston and St. Andrew includes 1,386 housing units to be constructed over the next 2 years. We have the Foreshore Estates, and that will be 230 units. Martin, has that started already? I believe the Foreshore Estate is under construction and will be completed next year. We have the Maxfield Park scheme under the Community Renewal Project, this project, 210 units, and that should be completed in 2025. I believe, Martin, this is under construction. We have White Wing, the Community Renewal Program, once again, 131 units. That should be completed in 2025. We have Howard Apartments, 248 units. That should be completed in 2025. I remember personally breaking ground there for that. That is in Angela Brown-Burke's constituency. Bell Rock, Community Renewal, 18 units. I believe that is completed already. St. Paul's Lane, in a place that is very special to me, 24 units. And I have found a way, separate from the NHT, to add another 12 to that. So you could tack that on to this total. Then there is the Surbiton Apartments that is to be developed, 70. And that will be completed in 2026. We have the Bay Farm Road, again, Community Renewal Project, 62 units, and that will be in 2026. We all know of the Ruthven Towers. Well, we have Ruthven Towers Phase 2, and that will be 235 units, and that will be in 2026 for completion. And we have the Vineyard Town, which is an NHT scheme, 14 units. That should be completed in 2025. And we have Royal Estates, Community Renewal Program of 144 units, and that will be completed in 2026. I want you to just reflect on this. The NHT is about 43 years old, thereabout. 47 years old? 47 years old. And in 47 years, we have built about 10,000 houses in Kingston and St. Andrew. In 2 years, we are going to build 1,380 units in the next 2 years. And I'm sure, I know Martin doesn't like to hear that, the chairman doesn't like to hear what I'm about to say. But as we go through the process of looking at our land bank in Kingston and St. Andrew, and we identify lands that could possibly be used for development, and as we move to acquire lands for housing development, I am certain that we will be adding another 1,000 houses to this number. I noticed no one from the NHT Executive Club, because I have been pushing the NHT to the limit. So if we can do 2,000 houses per year in the next 40 years, right? We would more than quadruple the number of houses that we have built in the last 40 years. That is what we want to do, because the demand for housing is great. No matter how many groundbreakings I do, and as Dwayne tells you, right? We have gone maybe 6 or 7 already for the year, or more than that for the year. And the claim is still, I can't get any house. And it is true. I was in Montego Bay as I spoke at the last handing over of houses. And I explained to that audience that I met a young lady in St. James. She works in the BPO industry. She had to move from Clarendon. She can't find any house in St. James, so she's really living in circumstances that are not comfortable for her and her child. She's a single parent. And she just wants a housing shelter in a properly planned community, because where she lives, she says she's catching. You know what that term means. She's living with family members or friends in an unsecure and uncertain circumstance. And I'm certain that there are thousands of Jamaicans in this situation who would want a housing solution. And that is why I'm pushing the NHT to the limit, to get the houses built. Not just build house, but to build the houses quickly. And we are not only focused in this area. We are on target. We were a little bit delayed because of the pandemic, but we're getting back on target. The NHT has committed to 43,000 housing solutions right across Jamaica. And every day we are working towards that commitment. So for Kingston and St. Andrew, out of that 43,000, you know we have 1,300, and we probably will increase that as we find more lands and viable projects to either build or finance. Not too far from here, in Bernard Lodge, already that project has started. Several of the developers are building out now, and I'm going to tour that area very soon to see the progress that is being made. In that development alone, we will have over 10,000 housing solutions. The solution to the housing problem is not that we're going to be able to build houses where you live. So let's take this community of West Kingston. The people who are going to benefit from this development here at Royal Estate, they are happy that they don't have to relocate. But the truth is, we will never be able to find 8 acres of land all around Kingston to do the development where the people live. So, in the development strategy, what we must do is build proper transportation facilities, which would mean proper roads that can take traffic, so we have to build them for traffic, and we also have to have a proper public transportation system. Those two things are key elements of being able to solve the housing problem. What we have done in terms of improving the road network heading east into St. Thomas is a signal that housing developments should follow that new corridor, so that there are options other than seeking to build in Kingston, that you can live on the suburbs or outskirts of Kingston and travel into Kingston at a low cost and conveniently. So that's what we are building out. And I want to just put that together because sometimes the conversation is going on in the public domain. People are feel, very much inconvenienced by the roadworks that we have been doing, but not seeing the bigger picture. The bigger picture is not just building the roads. It is also making it more convenient to build housing on lands that are not as expensive as the land in Kingston, which carries the price of the house very high and limits really the size of the house that you can get. So that's part of the strategy. But I wanted to say a few more things on this development. Minister Mackenzie told you that this housing development has been on the books before 2007. I believe as far back as maybe 2005, thereabouts. It's a long time. Very long time. And this community of Rasta City, it's not the only community waiting for so long. I toured this area in December, I believe it was the 2nd of December, 2019. 2nd of December, 2019. So almost what, 2 years? Almost 2 years. Yeah. 3 years, almost 3 years. 4 years for true. 4 years. Yes. Which makes the point even more vividly. 4 years. And at that time, when I toured, you're right, 4 years, a resident, Shakira Dockery, I don't know if Shakira is here. Hi, Shakira. She said, for years, we have been told that there would be some form of housing development here. And we haven't yet seen anything happen. This is a quote from a story published in the Observer newspaper. However, she went on to say, I know with the Prime Minister and how he's working, I am sure the project will begin really soon. That was what they quoted you as saying, Shakira. Another resident said the living conditions of citizens are unbelievable. And over the past few weeks, we have been experiencing increased rainfall. And when it rains, it leaks. And I want the Prime Minister to come through with the housing plan. This was said by another resident, didn't get his name. Shaquille Henry. Is Shaquille here? Yeah. I wanted to share this experience with you. To say that it is not for want of trying to get the project done quickly. And indeed, you know, I must thank the residents for their patience. I must thank you for your patience in this matter. And if I were to give you just some insight as to the journey to get here, funds were allocated to do it. it should have been done under the auspices of the UDC. Administration changed. It didn't get done. It fell off the books. Administrations changed again. Commitments were made. It was again under the UDC. Didn't get done. Administration changed again. We made a commitment to do it. This time we said, you know, it's not the UDC's task to build these houses. We're going to put it to the NHT. Well, put it to the Ministry of Housing in collaboration with the NHT. Then, because of the size of the project, it had to go through the usual processes, project development, that can take you several months. Then it has to go through what is now called public investment. We have to make sure that the right decisions are being made and the project is feasible before we can spend public resources. Then it had to go through procurement. In other words, who is going to build this? So we have to have a transparent process that the private contractors can come and bid for it, and that it is fair and transparent. If one thing go wrong in that process, and it is open to any legal challenge, the advice that you usually get is to abort it and start again. This project suffered from that. It means that as we layer on top of the public bureaucracy, the people who are charged with the duty to execute, this is out of the hands of the politicians now. Politicians can't deal with procurement. If it is not done correctly, if there is incompetence involved, then it adds to the time it takes to deliver the benefit. I want you to think about it. So you had the political delays, changing priorities of administrations. Okay? Finally, we have a political decision, and we can do it within the political cycle. Decision made, budget allocated, or rather we have designated where the funds are going to come from. Put it through now the bureaucratic executive process. And then again, it meets upon all kinds of delays. When I toured Rasta City, and I've toured many communities in Jamaica, Rasta City is, let me try to put it in context for the listening audience, for persons who may not know. Many years ago, more than 50 years ago, the Public Works Department building for this area, for the island, it was the Public Works, the Minister of Local Government was corrected me. The headquarters was on this property. It was a substantial structure, but it was not a housing development. After West Kingston was developed and Tivoli Gardens was developed in 1963, it started, not all the residents were fully accommodated in all the buildings that were built. And as residents moved in, trying to find somewhere to live, as is the case right across Jamaica, people just trying to find somewhere to live. And that building, which was abandoned, was the only place that they could find to live. And they took up residence in the building. They turned it into small apartments. But that building, that building is probably over 70 years old or more. Part of it is a wooden structure, part of it is concrete. And my recollection is that over 100 people live there. in really difficult circumstances. And there are, I'm sure, many other communities like that right across Jamaica. Really bad circumstances. And so you can imagine the disappointment that the residents would have had when they would have heard since 2006, 2007 that yes, it is going to be done, and then it doesn't happen. How frustrated they would be. This explains why people lose faith in government, why they become cynical of government. So when I toured in 2019, I made a commitment that it would be done. But regardless of how firm and how strong my commitments were, when it becomes the domain of execution, when it becomes the domain of the public bureaucracy, sometimes there is a disconnect between the urgency of getting the projects done and the imperative of complying with the rules. The two things have to be done. You can't sacrifice either. You have to comply with the rules, and you want to do it as quickly as possible so that the people who are living in this substandard condition can get the benefit quickly. Sometimes, as bureaucrats and administrators, we do our job without seeing the beneficiary on the other side of our effort. We believe that the longer it takes, the better it is. It is a culture in the Jamaican bureaucracy that we must eliminate. It should never take 4 years to break ground on this project. A lot of talk in the society about compensation. Very limited in a silo. Everybody is saying, yes, I need to be paid more because I need to be able to afford the necessities of my life. But what you work for, your job, is not only for the necessities of your life. It is the necessity of all the people that you serve. When you do your job better and you get paid better, your job is supposed to ensure that every single Jamaican who relies on you to do your job also gets better. The conversation can't be just about me and my compensation. It must be that the improvement in my compensation will improve my productivity so that the people who live in Rasta City can get their house too quickly. I'm not going to ask pardon for my motion on this because it is something that I've had to be dealing with in the government. The pace of how we get things done. And it is a conversation that we all want to shy away from. But the sustainability of the increases that have been given under the compensation review can only be secured if we increase productivity. The sustainability of the increases that are happening now in the wage level in the country can only be sustained if productivity increases over and above the rate of inflation. So we're at a point in this administration where we have to be thinking, we have solved the economic problem in terms of fiscal management. We have, based on that, we have stable revenues, stable taxes, and we are seeking now to have the adjustment in wages. But commensurate to the adjustment in wages must be the adjustment in productivity. Our GDP has to grow much faster than the 1% and the 2%. How does that happen? It happens when we make the commitment to Rasta City in 2009, and Rasta City gets done. Let's say it takes 2 years. Let's be reasonable. 2 years. Then that Rasta City expenditure and development would have been on 2021's GDP. So 2021 GDP would have been higher by Rasta City. Let's look at all the other projects that we didn't do, which we budgeted to do, but because of administrative things, we pushed them aside. Let me tell you, practically, someone is building a house. They apply to their parish council for approvals. They submit all the documents, their tax compliance, the plans, everything. All right, it takes them 6 months to review it. They get a call. They say, sir, you have submitted your application, but we did not see one dimension of a wall on the plan. So we're going to ask you to correct that, come back for the plan, make the change. All right? That process, 2 weeks. 6 months, 2 weeks. I'm not calling names of which municipal authority, but I'm giving you what happened. Person wrote to me. Then, made the correction, sent it back. They called him and said, sir, you have everything completed now, but you're going to have to do another surveyor's ID, because the surveyor's ID that you did is outdated. It's after I pay for a survey ID and sent it in, hopefully it would be done in time. Goes and pays for it, will it more money. Wait till he gets another call. Sir, you did not submit your, I think it was some tax compliance thing that he had to submit. He said, but I'm sure I submitted it. He said, no, sir, we don't have it here. He goes through the process that takes him a couple days, goes back to the parish council. When he goes there to hand it in personally, they say, but sir, we have this on the file already, see it here. To this day, he has not gotten his approval. So that investment that should be on this year's GDP is not on it. Let's look at the time wasted. The people who are doing that, do they realize that their pay depends on that man building the house? The increase in compensation don't come from out of the ear. It comes from the economic activity that you allow to happen. So, again, I want to thank the people of Rasta City for your patience. And for all the other Jamaicans who are waiting patiently for some benefit to reach them. The next phase of development in Jamaica must be about productivity and efficiency. There are too many pain points that the society is experiencing, whether it is the long lines in the tax office, whether it is trying to deal with some permitting issue with the government. Government bureaucracy cannot be a stumbling block for development. Government bureaucracy must be an enabler for development. And that is the next phase of our development. That is the next challenge that we will have to take on. There are many issues wrong with the Jamaican society, but little by little, one by one, this administration is brave enough, strong enough, courageous enough, not just to talk about it, but to do the actions necessary to make the change so that Jamaica can truly be the place of choice to live, work, raise families, do business, and retire in paradise. So I say to the contractor, M&M, the project is now, has now passed through the bureaucratic phase, and it is now in the execution phase. There is a timeline of 2026 to get this done. Get it done before. Yes, move fast as you can. Surprise us pleasantly. Keep it under budget. I hear the contractor say he's ready. Don't delay what you can accomplish today. So, with those pleadings, I thank you for your attention. And again, to the people who have been waiting on this, I thank you for your patience. God bless you, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister Holness. Everyone say with me, within budget. Within budget, say it with me. And within time. So that's the goal and that's the focus for Royal Estate. Yes. And thank you, Prime Minister, for that. You know, I found myself saying ouch a couple of times. Sobering presentation on that need for balance between getting the job done, getting the projects done, and the compliance with the processes of getting those projects done. And in all of that balance, let's also not forget the people. We're now at the groundbreaking exercise, the actual tilling of the soil, and I'll invite at this time to be robed and properly attired and safety first for a groundbreaking exercise. I'll invite Prime Minister Holness, Minister Mackenzie, Chairman Freeman, our Managing Director, Mr. Miller. You can make your way to the ushers. And Mr. Mullins from M&M Construction. Well, M&M. And the groundbreaking will actually take place on the 10th mile to your right. And as we prepare for that exercise, let me just use the opportunity to say it was my pleasure being a Master of Ceremonies for this morning. And a big thank you to all the people who made it possible. A big thank you to Edge Marketing, our project leads, as it relates to execution here, and all the suppliers, PRS, and everyone they worked with. Big thank you to our planning team, Mrs. Ann Vidal, our construction and development team, Mr. Moore, Mr. Taylor, and the project team on the ground, our ushers, our advertising and marketing team, our brand support team, Ms. Bernard, and the our social development team, Wendy Jo and her team, and all the people who made today possible. A big thank you and enjoy the rest of the afternoon.
All right.
All right, guys.
Ready?
No.
So we'll give it a usual lift. Hold. Everybody should get that. We're going to turn to the right. All right, turn to the right after 3, 2, 3. No, sir.